I figured because I added something new, I had to restart it. So this is the classroom across the hall. We did, no, I didn't hit go live yet. No. Maybe it is. All right, here we are. All right, so Happy New Year, everybody. We had to reset the computer today because I didn't find the camera at first. So Happy New Year's Eve, as we get ready to set up for 2021. I have a few things to update that, so the district is set for Monday, January 4th for all the buildings to be open for the hybrid instruction, which is our Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday groups. K3 and the 4 through 6 grades will have additional time for the remote children. So please check either the Schoology account or the Seesaw account. And you should see that there's extra hours in there where they can meet with a live teacher every day to get some basic lessons and answer any questions from what the classroom teacher is posting. So that'll be on January 4th when we start there. Our meeting yesterday with superintendents and the Department of Health projects that probably late February, March, but they're not sure how this is going to go with the levels of vaccine. Educational institutions are level 2, which means employees of an educational institution would then be qualify and they could get a vaccine if they so choose to. And then there's going to be other levels before it gets to the general public. But February or March is what they're looking at right now. In Niagara County, they'll be using the transit drive-in as well as Gratwick Hose here in North Tonawanda. And there's another site in Lockport that I can't remember right now. But there'll be drive-through, and the way it's set up at the moment is that after you get your inoculation, you'll have to pull forward a little bit, and they have to monitor you for 10 or 15 minutes to make sure there's no reaction to the shot. And then they'll give you a card and a date for the second round because you have to have 2 rounds of it. So they are moving in to more places giving vaccines. And I know, like I heard on the news today, that Tops Markets will be one of the places to do that. I don't think that Tops Markets will get it, and start giving it out to the general population before they get through their level zones. But the good news is that there are more doses of the vaccine in each vial than they originally thought. So they are getting more people with what's being shipped here. It is a little bit of a trick to do it because of the way it has to be refrigerated and cooled. So they just can't pick like a school site or other sites, a church or something, to do that because they have to have these coolers that are there to keep the vaccine cold. So the Niagara County Department of Health has been working on this for over a month now, and they don't have any vaccines here at the Niagara County Department of Health, but he's expecting to get them shortly, and they will be working on nursing homes and that type of thing and how they're going to do that. So that's going to be the next big wave of things that come. The good news also is that the infection rate for COVID in Western New York is coming down, which is good. But there are days where he said it has spiked, where they're at 12% on a certain day. But overall, our rate is coming down, and he hopes to see that trend continue. Although he's a little bit leery because of people being together over the holidays and celebrating, and what they call living room spread now because of that. So they are watching for that. The other change that happened over the holidays is that when you were a person who contracted COVID or were in close proximity, and they wanted to quarantine you in case you were going to get COVID. It was always 14 days, and now they're lessening that to 10 days, which is good news for getting back into schools and things quicker. If that happens and we have to quarantine because of close proximity or because you have become infected with it. Of course, the Department of Health or your physician would always be the one to tell you, for sure what's going on, but for the most part, they're seeing that after 10 days of exposure, if you haven't started to show symptoms or signs yet of having the disease, that you won't get it in the last 4. So that's the thinking behind changing it from 14 to 10 days. There are some stipulations with that where they'll still be texting you if you were designated by the state to quarantine those last 4 days to ask you how you're feeling and if you have any symptoms and if you took your temperature. But as far as return to work or school without symptoms, it would be at 10 days. Some other happy news that was here right before the holidays is on Channel 7 News. We had one of our local teachers who was highlighted from NTI with her department there for integrating music into the classroom quite a bit and going above and beyond and visiting the kids at their house in a safe, social way with masks on and stuff to deliver the Christmas presents and that. It was from our NTI building, and they were closed, if you remember, the 2 weeks before the Christmas recess. So it was a nice little segment on Channel 7 News highlighting Christy Keidel, her teammates there, and some of the children that are in the grade level there. So we're looking forward to NTI getting back and up and running because the schools are very quiet without the kids. We like to have the kids there. Okay, so we were quarantined prior to NTI closing. My daughter wasn't able to get any work. Will she get help getting caught up? Thank you. She does not use the tablet, FYI. So I don't know what her system was then, if she's not using a tablet to access the lessons, but it seems like they must have had a way where they were delivering some work to the household or whatever. So I'm assuming January 4th, everything's back to normal, that they will try and catch her up as well as make sure she keeps up with the new work that's coming. The Board of Ed office is open. It's been open all week. We do close at noon tomorrow, and then we'll reopen January 4th, regular hours, but we were open now until today. We're here till 4, and tomorrow we'll be here till noon. For the children that are on a hybrid schedule on their home days, can they join the remote children for the teacher lessons that are becoming available? Yes. So if you go to school 2 days a week, and especially the K-6, these other lessons that will be available at their grade level, they are more than welcome to join in and get that extra teaching on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So that's available to them to access. And if you are a secondary student and that teacher is live streaming or doing something different on Thursday, Friday, yes, we would welcome you to join. I need to find out about the Review 504 for my son. So 504s and annual reviews will all be part of the regular process going through. I know last year we had a 2-week break in it. We had to reschedule some because of right when COVID and the shutdown came. But they did a lot of them remotely. They are doing some in person and some remote still. So that will take place. If you have not heard by February when your 504 review is, you can call the building principal and tell them that you'd like to, have them find out when it's scheduled, and there'll be an annual schedule for all the annual reviews for special ed and 504s. So yeah, so if they were getting paper packets, I don't know why the teacher would stop making that available for them. I'm not sure what school or grade level it was, but I'm sure they'll get back to that. If you're saying she doesn't use a tablet, but she could use a tablet, maybe she could access these general lessons that'll be on every day as well, um, that aren't necessarily tied to what the teacher's doing, but they're good reinforcement and help and support for the K-6 students. So hopefully that would help. So if there's, she's asking for paper packets for the core subject. Um, well, you're saying Schoology doesn't work most of the time, but we've got over 3,000 students using Schoology, and I don't hear that comment a lot. I hear sometimes it's confusing or parents don't understand it, but as far as people reaching out and helping the kids work through their problems, there's a lot of tech support for that. Anything that's on Schoology could be printed. And so if you don't have a printer at your house, that's something that you could do. I know that certain classes too, maybe for a math class or something like that, is offering pickup days for packets. So your best bet would be to contact the individual teachers to see what the issue is first with Schoology, and then if packets could be made available. But we're not going to do mass packets again. Okay, we're moving into the 21st and beyond centuries, and we're going to be focusing a little bit heavier on technology. We did a big investment in the iPads for everybody, and like I said, for I would say Western New York, everyone's moving towards technology and not the packets. So it's not just the NT thing. What is the status of ELA testing in the spring for those canceled? So they have not been canceled yet. We did have to order them. We ordered them in October, November to get ready for the spring. So we did put in our orders based on the students we have at each grade level. Albany and the Board of Regents basically makes that decision on Regents exams and the state testing. So we do get updates from them. I know they are looking at that and they're considering it, but at this point in time, nothing has been formally canceled. All students will return on January 4th into the hybrid model. So if you are a Monday, Tuesday attender, you will come on the 4th. If you are a Thursday, Friday attender, you start back on the 7th, which is that Thursday. So yeah, we're set to open up on those days. We're hoping that we can keep the COVID rates down and low, so we don't have to close buildings again like we did before the holidays. It seems like Western New York's on a great trend, so we hopefully get back to just 1 or 2 people being quarantined and not buildings closing. And hopefully the vaccine works and a lot of people take it. And then we can get back to normal sooner than later. One of the things, though, with the back to normal sooner than later, I asked the question the other day, is that so if, let's say, teachers are all vaccinated by April, can we finish the school year April, May, June in back to normal? And some of the things that were discussed is that there was a decree in there by the governor that you still have to maintain social distancing. So, and since kids and families won't be afforded the vaccine if you're in the general population until probably April, May, June, July, August, we may have to finish the school year this way. But we did voice our concern that that's not what we want. We'd like to get back to normal, be able to have a normal graduation and all the things and the regular sporting events with spectators and stuff. So we're just going to have to wait a little bit longer because a lot of this is unknown as to how fast and how quickly they can get the vaccine out and how many people take it. This is a horrible Schoology. I am full-time working single mother. I think I lost it. Wait, let me see. Yeah, here we go. I'm a full-time single mother and have to help navigate this horrid system when I get home. Then I receive ridiculous messages from my son's teachers about missing work. I'm over it all. We need a real paper pencil pack-up. So, Tiffany, I will look up if your child's name has the same last name as you. We can look that up and see what you can get. But I will tell you that as superintendent, I'm not going to condone moving certain kids to all paper packets. So we're going to have to work it out with you and maybe hopefully give you some training or your son or daughter some more training in Schoology so they can get on par with what the rest are doing. It should be a parent's choice to shove all this technology. That is not a good thing in a child. Paper packets should always be an option. This is Marie Pedrick. Um, I can have just as many people on here telling me that these paper packets aren't enough. So there's probably a good mix somewhere in the middle, but I'm telling you that we're going to stick with technology. Happy New Year to Karen. Not to change it, but is volleyball and sports coming back? I am losing my kids to video game land. So right now, the winter sports, which were cut back into low risk and high risk, so things like bowling and that, and would come back, and they were moved to. Let me just find the calendar. The 18th, which is also Martin Luther King Day. So that week of January 18th is when some winter sports will come back. The problem with volleyball and basketball in the winter is that it's a contact sport, so to speak, running, bumping into each other, and those were not cleared, but they're hoping to get them cleared for some type of sports season. And then we need to wrap up winter sports and hopefully get back to normal with spring sports. Spring sports always fight a little bit of a weather battle because the baseball and softball is always a challenge with getting the fields ready and dry if we have a bad winter. So that's number one issue. Number two issue is that we'll have to see what the ruling is on how those are allowed to play and spectators and events and how many that we can have. It might be a shortened season. That matter. Nothing will come close to replacing actual in-school instruction. Give families the option to choose. Felt like we did do that, but we're right. We want full instruction back. Unfortunately, the social distancing piece is the part that school districts in this area are going to have trouble with. All right. So we have a day left of a day and a half left of 2020. Let's hope for a much better 2021 where things can get back to normal and get us moving forward. I know it's frustrating for the parents here in North Tonawanda, and that's why I sort of do this give and take back and forth with everybody. But I just want you to remember that all of Western New York is kind of suffering through this, and all of New York and all the states across the United States with some alternative form of education for kids. So we're not alone. That doesn't make it any easier, but we always are working and advocating to get back to normal school. So Joseph is saying social distancing can be maintained. Don't let that be a reason our children suffer. So Joe, I would love to see that happen. I think if there's a lot of vaccine given, there might be a way to do that with wearing masks. But there's no way to social distancing 300 kids in a cafeteria at one time or 30 kids in a classroom that's really probably built for 25. So you get into unions and teachers' rights and students' rights and parents' rights, and it's a very complicated way to do it. There are ways to do it differently, and we are looking at those. But we want to make sure it's not going to upset people more, that we change schedules to get kids back in more often for a short amount of time. So we do look at it, and we do try to get them back as soon as possible. We appreciate you even when we are frustrated. All good. I appreciate you guys too for giving me your thoughts. will we be able to make up football season this spring, summer if numbers stay in the right range? Um, that was discussed in the fall about that, and I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm just saying that they're really focused on winter sports right now, and then seeing how they may have to shorten a spring season so kids can play more than one sport, or some of them play 2 or 3 sports, and they're all offered at the same time. So we are part of Section 6 in this area, which is a sporting entity. And they have athletic directors, they have a superintendent representative on there. It was me 4 years ago, but it rotates. So it's a different superintendent in Niagara County, but there's Erie County superintendent on it as well, and that rotates. And they are working out schedules, because then it's not just us playing, it's how we're going to play other schools. How are the fields going to be available? Like now we have a multi-purpose field, so we can't have football, lacrosse, and soccer all on the field at the same time. Other districts are very similar to that, and so they work all that out. I don't know how they do it, but they do a great job of getting the things scheduled so that there's enough field time and play time and practice time for everybody. So I know that's still a discussion, but I have not heard them talk about it, I will be honest, in the last 2 months, because they've been really focused on trying to get a winter sports season up and running. All right. So have a safe and happy New Year's. Not supposed to be great weather, so it's probably a good thing that we're all staying home. And let's hope for a much better 2021. I was talking with our interpreter here, who has a conflict next Wednesday, the 6th at 2, but he can be here at 3:30. So I will not be on next Wednesday until 3:30. We'll back it up just so he can get here. And that way everybody's happy that they have the interpretation that they need, and I'll still do a Wednesday. And then the Wednesday evening one that I will be scheduling is January 20th for parents as well. So we'll keep the 2 o'clock time, but next Wednesday we have to move to 3:30. Is there anyone at the middle school? So there was people at the middle school, I know, Monday and Tuesday, and I think if anyone, there might be one clerical. The 12-month clerical are working, but teachers and administrators have the week off. Has New York State given the districts any decision about mandatory vaccine, or is that unknown for our students? Um, they have not gone there yet. So it's been discussed, and it almost comes up every week with the Department of Health, if this is going to be something that's going to be mandatory to have kids come to school in the future, but they have not made this flu or COVID vaccination mandatory at this point. If you listen to the governor, or the highlights of the governor on the news, he's a little bit worried, because unless close to 75% of the population takes the vaccine, it's not effective, because then you don't have enough people taking it. So I think he's waiting to see how many voluntarily come before they start putting in any rules and regulations where they mandate it. So, but it has not been mandated as part of the vaccines that you need to come to school yet. All right, everybody. Have a safe and happy New Year's, and we'll be back on January 6th at 3:30. Thank you, and stay safe.